I know that this morning with Mr. James with his talk, and this evening with some of the trivia, and probably in most of your homes or many of your homes throughout the week, you've had a lot of learning and education and maybe even revisiting of the Hanukkah story, right? So there's something that you're familiar with on some level. But I want to touch on a little bit about it tonight that maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe even haven't heard. Everybody stand up and make a straight line here in the middle of the aisle here. Some of y'all in the back up a little bit so we can have the folks in the front. Everybody get in a straight line. And we're going to need a little bit, listen close, we're going to need a little bit of room. Going to need a little bit of room to step laterally, meaning to the side, one side or the other. Okay? If we need to move some tables, we can move them a little bit. Okay? All right, make sure you're not too friendly with the folks in front or in back of you. You got a little bit of room because you're going to move to the side. What we're going to do with this line is just a physical way for you all to answer my questions, okay? As you think about some of the questions that I offer, you're going to step to one side if you would, one side if you would not, and you stay in the middle if you're unsure. Yeah? Everybody got that, even in the back in the cheap seats? This side if you would, this side if you would not, and in the middle if you're unsure, right? Because today as we're considering the Hanukkah holiday, I want to leave you with a question for Hanukkah that is going to resonate with you tonight, and I think for the rest of the holiday as you begin to think about Hanukkah for your life and what the Lord is trying to teach you about this. Simple question. What would you fight for? What would you fight for? Right? So this side is I would fight. This side I would not fight. And in the middle is I'm not sure. Got it? All right. Question number 1. Someone accidentally steps on your new white sneakers in the hallway. I would fight. Ellie was the first one. I would fight. I would not fight. Or I'm not sure. Stay in the middle. Go. Okay, all right. Y'all can hear me, right? So those of you who said I would fight, it's because, like, you got the new J's or the M1s, and you're like, man, I don't even have a crease, and you messed them up, right? Why would you fight? Give me one answer. Yell it out.
Because they're dirty.
Because they're dirty. Duh, right? Is anybody, you guys are on the would fight side, right? Okay. Is anybody on the I would not fight? Did all of y'all, is everybody on this side? You got to take a broader step so I can know. Everybody, this is the would not fight side. Is everybody in the middle? Okay, so who's in the middle? We got a few of y'all who are in the middle says, I'm not sure. Are you not sure because you need to know the circumstances?
Yeah, who stepped on it and what mood
I'm in? And what mood I'm in. And I need to know, did they do it on purpose or not, right?
Exactly. No, you said accidentally, but like it depends on the person.
Okay, all right. So I need to know who it was and what mood I'm in. All right, I'll give you that. All right, everybody back to the middle. We got a few more of these questions. You're at a Panthers game, and an Atlanta fan starts screaming at you how much the Panthers stink. I would fight. I would not fight. I'm not really sure. I wouldn't fight because I agree with them. So nobody would fight with them. How many are actually Panthers fans on the line? None of you. Okay, so that's why none of you are fight. All right, come back to the middle. Man, all right. All right. What would you fight for? What would you fight for? Your best friend's sister keeps spreading rumors about you and many of your friends. Wait, you ain't even hear the rest of the problem. Listen close for the people in the back too. Your best friend's sister keeps spreading rumors about you, and many of your friends stop hanging out with you. Do we have anybody in the unsure category? Ooh. All right, so all of y'all would fight. Okay, all right. All right, back to the center. All right, listen close, listen close. You see someone after school fighting with your friend's little brother. You jump in and fight? You're not sure? Or you would not? Scarlett, you would not. Nobody's unsure about this. Ooh, all right, we got one more. Who would not?
Like, how old is the little kid?
Ah.
I was gonna ask that. You're
So,
get beat up.
all right. Everybody back to the middle. Everybody back to the middle. Natasha, can y'all hear me back there? It's good. It's okay with volume? All right, good. All right, listen close. We got one more. You are an immigration enforcement officer. Listen close. Otherwise known as ICE, yes. And you're told to arrest everyone who looks Mexican. You gonna fight? You're not sure? Mommy, I have the same one of those over there on the counter. Can you bring that up for me, please? Ah, listen close, listen close. Listen close. Isn't it interesting? Listen close, listen close. Isn't it interesting that the details matter in this, no? Right? Number one, who am I going to fight against if I say I'll fight? The Mexicans or the establishment that sent me after them? Right? Who says I will fight the establishment? Thank you. I will fight the establishment. Give me a I'll fight on this side. Who's not sure? Anybody in the middle? I see y'all. You guys got to take wider steps. I can't tell who's in the middle. And everybody is basically like, there's no I would nots. Okay. All right. Very good. All right, everybody back dead center. I got two more. Your teacher says you used AI to write your paper and gave you an F.
No, I didn't. But did I?
Wait. I'm not done. Because I know y'all like details. Even though you didn't use AI at all. I feel like Moses walking through it's partying. Okay. We've got a couple in the middle. Some of y'all in the back, give me a reason why you're not sure.
Sebastian, yes, you would.
Hang on, I can't hear him. Shh, hang on, go. Because I'm homeschooling. All right, yeah, let's give it up for homeschoolers. Because you could talk it out with mom at the dinner table. Okay, all right, I get it. All right. Scarlett, you said you're not sure. Why?
Well, because my mom's my teacher, and she knows I don't use AI because I do my school in the kitchen, so.
All right, so what? The rest of y'all are not homeschooled, so you said you fight the teacher. Go to the principal?
I'm homeschooled.
Okay. All right, so you'd put up a fight. All right. Come back to the middle. I like this exercise, particularly, y'all could have raised your hand or whatever, but it gives a good sense physically so you can see where your peers are at for some of these answers. Here's a final one. President Trump, through an executive order and act of Congress, passes a law that says that all women must wear a hijab and must live by strict Islamic Sharia law. I got one not sure, right? I got one not sure and everybody else. Okay. For not sure, what's the thought behind not sure? I know he wouldn't do that. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. No, hang on. Hang on. Listen, I know that most of y'all wouldn't do some stuff that's not right or not good, but you never know what happens and what decisions you might make given the right circumstances. That's why people like myself, Mr. James, the team, We are here to try and equip you with the tools so that, God forbid, you get in one of those situations, you pull in the right trigger and not the wrong one. Right? All right, everybody, give yourselves a hand. Sit back down to your seats. Right? And remember, we're asking ourselves, what would you fight for? And there's something profound about thinking, well, I would definitely fight for what's right. I would definitely fight if the darkness sought to snuff out the light. I would be the first in line to stand up and do and say the right thing, right? But would you every time? And what would you be willing to fight for? And how hard would you be willing to fight? And what about the circumstances would either bring you to silence and reclusion or to stand up and do the right thing, right? Tonight, as we consider Hanukkah in all different ways, right? I want to take you on a journey to the middle of the first century. There's a king of the Seleucid Empire, but one of the Greek kings named Antiochus, whom y'all have probably heard that name many times throughout the evening and in your time hearing of Hanukkah. He launches this massive campaign to Hellenize the world. What does that mean? That means that he's attempting to make the whole of the world assimilate to Greek culture, Greek language, Greek laws, Greek religious practices, Greek way of life, Hellenization. He seeks to Hellenize the entire world, and he will do it by might and power and force if necessary. And in a small town called Modin, you can see it here on the map, not too far outside of Jerusalem, a Greek official demands that the whole town, this small town of Modin, would sacrifice to Greek gods. A man named Mattathias, right, decides that he's going to fight back. And Mattathias, he starts the beginning of what would be called the Maccabean Revolution. Now, some of y'all heard the name Judah Maccabee or Judas Maccabeus, right, throughout the evening, and you say, that's the one who led the revolt of the Maccabees, right, against the Greeks, right? And his dad was really the one who started this revolution. That in this small town, this Greek official comes and says, sacrifice on this altar, right, to the pagan Greek gods, and forfeit and forego your religious convictions and your God. And Mattathias says, I'm not going to do that. And he was a local priest in that town, so if he did it, likely many others would have fallen in line. But he said no. He rebelled. And he withdrew from the town of Moadine, and he took him and his family and a band of revolutionaries, right? And they fled right into the wilderness to start what we understand to be the Maccabean Revolution, right? The Maccabean Revolution. It's funny because this week, what was it, Tuesday, was the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. Y'all know what the Boston Tea Party is, right? You still cover that, right, in class? Right, the Boston Tea Party, right? the Englishmen in the back. The Englishmen in the back, right? And the reason for that revolt, right, against the crown, right? No taxation without, right? So here we are kind of in a dual season of revolution, right? Reminding of our revolution both in America here, right? And with the Jewish history. Well, in time, Mattathias hands off this revolution to his son, Judah, right? And Antiochus ramps up his oppression, and his forces ultimately take over Jerusalem. And he forbids all Jewish practices, reading scripture, obeying Jewish law, remembering the holy days. And as many of us know, he defiles the temple by sacrificing a pig on the altar in Jerusalem, right? Essentially, one of the most holy places in all of the land. But Judah and his revolutionaries, they continued to fight, right? They continued to fight. And I want to read, this is where we pick up in 2 Maccabees. I want to read kind of where the origins of Hanukkah come from for us to really be familiar with, right? Judah and the revolutionists continue to fight, and ultimately they go into Jerusalem, and through their revolution, they take it back, and they want to rededicate the temple that's been defiled, right? It was at one point used for God's service, for sacrifice. It was a holy space, and it was made unholy through defilement of Antiochus and his armies, right? So they come back in, they win the revolution to gain back Jerusalem, the city, and the temple, and they want to rededicate it, make it holy again. And this is where we pick up in 2 Maccabees here, chapter 8, and it says this: Judah Maccabee and his friends went secretly from village to village until they had gathered a force of about 6,000 Jews, men who remained faithful to their religion. They begged the Lord to help his people, and now trampled underfoot by all nations, to take pity on the temple now defiled by the pagans, and to have mercy on Jerusalem, now destroyed and almost leveled to the ground. They also asked the Lord to show his hatred of evil by taking revenge on those who were murdering his people, mercilessly slaughtering innocent children, and saying evil things against the Lord. Quote, "They rely on their weapons and their daring," Judah said, "but we trust in Almighty God." During their revolution, Antiochus captured Jerusalem. He ravaged the temple, he defiled it by offering a pig, as we know. And this was still in line with his attempts to force the Jews to adopt Greek culture, Greek laws, and religious practices. But eventually, the Maccabean fighters took back the temple. I want to keep reading through 2 Maccabees. Hang on, just give me a second because technology is failing me here. And we continue, and he says, they rededicated the temple. Hang on. And it says in chapter 8, Judah, where are we at? There we go. Judah Maccabee and his followers, under the leadership of the Lord, recaptured the temple and the city of Jerusalem. They tore down the altars, which foreigners had set up in the marketplace, and they destroyed other places of worship that had been built. They purified the temple and built a new altar. And then with a new fire, they started by striking flint, and they offered sacrifice for the first time in 2 years, burnt incense, lighting the lamps, the menorahs in the temple, and they set out the sacred loaves. They rededicated the temple on the 25th day of the month of Kislev, which was Sunday night that passed, and the same day of that month on which the temple had been desecrated. The happy celebration lasted 8 days, like the Sukkot, which we celebrated in the fall earlier. And the people remembered how only a short time before they had been fighting, and they spent Sukkot like wild animals living in the wilderness, right, during their revolution, in the mountains, living in caves. But now carrying green palm branches and sticks decorated with ivy, they paraded around, singing grateful praises to him who had brought about the purification of his own temple. Everyone agreed that the entire Jewish nation should celebrate this festival each year. So in short, there you have it. That's the story of Hanukkah, right? What would you fight for? But where did the candles come from, right? And so in short, I'm not going to get into a long description of the Talmud, but the miracle of the oil, right? They lit the lamps, they lit the menorahs in the temple to rededicate. And in time, a few hundred years later, you get in the Talmud this writing that says the 8 days, there was only found 1 day's worth of oil. And the miracle was that for 8 days, the oil lasted so that the menorahs, the Hanukkahs as we call them, could stay lit for the whole time of the holiday celebration, right? So you get later in history this legend of the oil, right? This miracle of the oil. And that's why we celebrate Hanukkah as a festival of lights, right? But it only further punctuates a powerful truth that light triumphs over darkness, right? In John 8, Yeshua says, "I am the light of the world, and whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." In fact, the whole Bible teaches us that the light has come into this world, and we can either fight for the light to triumph over darkness, or we can fight against that same light. right? John says of Yeshua, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because they have not believed in the name of God, God's one and only Son." And so this is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but people love darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. But whoever lives by the truth comes to the light, so that it may be seen plainly that what they have done has been done in the sight of God. What would you fight for? Would you fight for the light? I want to tell a story here as we kind of wrap this up. There's a photo here. Can everybody see it? A little bit clear. It's kind of blurry because it's old. It's a Hanukkah. And in the background, you can see the little swastika Nazi flag. Maybe if you can see that, right? The photo was taken in 1932 by a woman named Rachel Posner. She was the wife of a local rabbi. It's in a small northern Germany town called Kiel. And in the background, you see where that Nazi flag is. It's actually a Nazi headquarters for that area. On the back of the photo, she inscribed this: "Death to Judah, so the flag says." The Nazi flag. "Judah lives forever, so the light answers." A couple of weeks after that pic was taken, Hitler was elected as chancellor. And over the next 13 years, as we know, Hitler attempted to utterly eradicate the Jews and Judaism from the entire planet. The following year, the Posner family fled to Israel as the war and persecution grew. And they took that Hanukkah that was in the other picture, and they took that with them. The Posner descendants still live in a small town outside of Jerusalem to this day. And that Hanukkah, after many years, wound up, actually, it's still in the World Holocaust Remembrance Center in Jerusalem to this day. You can see it if you go there. And it's right alongside Rachel's photo that she took of the backside as well. And each year at Hanukkah, the center, one time in the year, returns that Hanukkah to the Posner family so that their descendants can celebrate Hanukkah with that Hanukkah. The very same light that was in the shadow of Nazi Germany is still being lit in a Jewish home in the Jewish state of Israel today. Antiochus is dead and gone. Hitler, dead and gone. But the lights of Hanukkah are still being lit. What would you fight for?